The Supreme Court just voted 9-0. Every single justice agreed. And what they decided could let police walk into your home without a warrant and find every gun you own. But here is the twist. That same court also just handed gun owners one of the biggest wins in modern history. 2 unanimous rulings. 2 very different outcomes. And most gun owners have no idea either one happened. Quick question before we go any further. Are you subscribed to this channel? Because what I am about to break down today could be the most important legal update you hear all year. I am not exaggerating. If you are a gun owner and you do not know about these 2 rulings, you are flying blind. Hit that subscribe button right now. We cover these updates every single week, and missing even one of them could cost you your freedom, your firearms, and your future. Okay, let us get into it. Here is what just happened. The Supreme Court of the United States, in the past several months, has issued 2 separate unanimous decisions. That means all 9 justices agreed. Every single one. These are not party line votes. These are not 5-4 splits. 9-0, both times. One ruling deals with your Fourth Amendment rights. That is your right to be protected from police searching your home without a warrant. The other deals with your Second Amendment rights. That is your right to keep and bear arms. And together, these 2 rulings are reshaping what it means to be a gun owner in America right now. Let me start with the one that should make every gun owner sit up straight. It is called Case versus Montana. The Supreme Court issued this ruling on January 14th, 2026, and it was 9-0. Here is the basic story of what happened. A man in Montana was having what appeared to be a mental health crisis. A neighbor called 911. Police showed up at his home. They did not have a warrant, but they entered anyway. The police said they believed someone inside needed emergency help. The man inside the home was later charged with a crime, and evidence from inside that home was used against him. Now here is the legal question the Supreme Court had to answer. Can police enter your home without a warrant in an emergency? And if so, what exactly counts as an emergency? The court said, yes, police can enter, but they set a specific legal standard to define when that is allowed. The standard they chose is called objectively reasonable. That means police can enter your home without a warrant. If a reasonable person in their shoes would believe someone inside needed immediate help. Here is why this matters so much to you as a gun owner. Think about this scenario for a second. Imagine you are at home. Maybe you had a tough day. You're not answering your phone. A neighbor gets worried and calls 911. Police show up. Under this new ruling, they may now have the legal right to enter your home without knocking and without a warrant. And if they walk inside and see your firearms, your ammo, your gun safe, all of that can potentially be observed and used. That is the real-world impact of this decision. Here is what most people get wrong about the Fourth Amendment. Most people think it protects them completely from police entering their home without permission. And in general, that is true. Your home is your most protected space under the law, but the Supreme Court has always recognized certain exceptions. One of those exceptions is called the emergency aid exception. Before this ruling, different courts across the country were using different standards to decide when that exception applied. Some courts required probable cause. That is a higher bar. It means police need solid facts and evidence before they can act. This ruling replaced all of that confusion with one national standard. The new standard is objectively reasonable. That is a lower bar. It is easier for police to meet, and that is the part that has constitutional lawyers and gun rights advocates very concerned right now. Critics of this ruling, including legal experts at the Cato Institute, said the court declined to hold police to the familiar probable cause standard. And that creates a new situation where police can forcibly enter private homes without warrants far more easily than before. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Let me explain why this connects directly to your Second Amendment rights. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, imagine what I have coming next. My next video covers the exact phrases you should say and should never say when police approach you at a traffic stop with a firearm in your vehicle. Those 5 words could be the difference between going home that night or spending the night in a cell. Subscribe right now so you do not miss that video. It could be the most important 6 minutes of your life as a gun owner. Okay, now let us talk about the second ruling. And this one is actually good news, really good news. This is the Smith and Wesson Brands versus Estados Unidos Mexicanos case. The Supreme Court issued this decision on June 5th, 2025. And again, it was 9-0. Here's the background. The government of Mexico sued American gun manufacturers, including Smith and Wesson, Glock, Colt, and others. Mexico claimed that these companies intentionally allowed their guns to be trafficked to Mexican drug cartels. Mexico said American gun makers were responsible for the violence happening in their country, and they wanted billions of dollars in damages. Now, quick legal note here. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. Always consult a licensed attorney for your specific situation. Okay, back to the case. There's a federal law in the United States called the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. Most people just call it the PLCAA. This law was designed specifically to protect gun manufacturers from being sued for crimes committed by people who used their products. Think of it like this. If someone gets drunk and causes a car accident, you cannot sue Ford for making the car. The PLCAA works the same way for guns. Gun makers should not be held responsible for how criminals choose to use their products. Mexico tried to argue that the gun companies were not just innocent sellers. They claimed the companies knew exactly what was happening. They claimed the manufacturers were actively helping guns flow across the border. The First Circuit Court of Appeals actually agreed with Mexico and allowed the case to move forward. That was a scary moment for the entire American gun industry. But then it went to the Supreme Court, and all 9 justices threw the case out. Here's the part nobody is really talking about. In this ruling, the Supreme Court made a statement that directly supports the Second Amendment. All 9 justices effectively acknowledged that the firearms these companies produce are, quote, widely legal and bought by many ordinary Americans. That includes AR-15s. That includes semi-automatic rifles. The entire court, including the most liberal justices, agreed on that point. That is enormous. That is a constitutional anchor for gun rights in America. Think about what could have happened if Mexico had won. Here is a hypothetical example to explain this. Imagine a foreign government winning a lawsuit against every major American gun manufacturer. Companies like Smith and Wesson, Ruger, Glock, imagine them facing billions of dollars in legal fees and damages. Many of them could have been forced to shut down or change how they operate. The guns you rely on for home defense and personal protection could have become unavailable or unaffordable. That was the actual threat. And the Supreme Court stopped it cold. But wait, there's something even more important to understand here. These 2 rulings together send a message that is both reassuring and alarming at the same time. Hey, real quick. Right now, 73% of people watching this video are not subscribed. That means nearly 3 out of 4 of you are at risk of missing critical legal updates like this one. Join the 50,000 gun owners who depend on this channel to stay informed and stay protected. Hit that subscribe button. Be in the 27% who are actually prepared. So let us bring both rulings together and look at the big picture. On one side, the Supreme Court is protecting your right to own guns. It is keeping the gun industry alive. It is blocking foreign governments from dismantling American firearm companies. That is a huge win for the Second Amendment. On the other side, that same court is making it easier for police to enter your home without a warrant. They are lowering the legal standard required for officers to come through your front door in what they call an emergency situation. That directly affects your Fourth Amendment rights. Here's what that means in practice. You could legally own every firearm in your home. You could have your license, your permits, your gun safe, everything by the book. And yet, under the new Case versus Montana standard, a concerned neighbor making a single phone call could potentially give police a path into your home without any warrant at all. If your firearms are visible when they enter, the situation can escalate in ways that are very hard to predict or control. Here's what most gun owners get wrong. They assume that because they are law-abiding, they have nothing to worry about. But constitutional rights are not just about guilt or innocence. They are about the process. They are about what police are allowed to do before any charge is ever made. Lowering the standard for home entry means that even completely innocent gun owners face more exposure than they did before this ruling. That is not a political opinion. That is just what the law now says. So here's what you need to know going forward. First, understand the emergency aid exception. If there is any situation that could look like an emergency from the outside, a wellness call, a noise complaint, a domestic disturbance claim, police may now have more legal authority to enter your home than you think. Second, know where your firearms are stored. If police enter under the emergency aid exception and your guns are in plain view, that creates legal complexity you want to avoid. Secure storage matters more than ever. Third, do not argue with officers at the door. Your rights are real, but the front porch is not where you defend them. That is what courts are for. Know your rights, stay calm, document everything, and call your attorney immediately. This information is moving fast, and here is what is coming next. This ruling sets a legal precedent that new challenges will be built on. New cases are already working their way through lower courts right now. Some of those cases could expand what counts as an emergency. Others could push back and try to restore higher protections. The legal landscape is shifting in real time. And if you are not paying attention, you will miss the moments that matter most. Subscribe right now because this legal battle is not over. In my next video, I'm breaking down exactly what gun owners need to prepare before the next major court ruling drops. The legal window to act may be shorter than you think. Do not wait until you need this information to find it. Here is the bottom line. The Supreme Court just issued 2 unanimous rulings that every gun owner in America needs to understand. One protects your right to own firearms by shielding gun manufacturers from foreign lawsuits. The other opens a new door for police to enter your home without a warrant under an easier-to-meet emergency standard. Together, these rulings mean your Second Amendment rights are stronger in the marketplace, but your Fourth Amendment rights are under more pressure inside your own home. That is the reality we are living in right now. A quick and important note to close out. Everything in this video is educational information only. It is not legal advice. Laws and their interpretations vary by state and by situation. Please consult a qualified firearms attorney for advice specific to your circumstances. And if this video helped you understand your rights better today, do me one favor. Share it with one gun owner who needs to hear this. Then hit that subscribe button. Because staying informed is not optional. It is how you stay free.